All right. Welcome to Between the Gutters. We're trying something a little new. This is our first attempt at a YouTube video. We found this artifact, Drew found this artifact, this magazine celebrating Marvel's 75th anniversary. And you know what it included? It included a list of the greatest 75 Marvel comics of all time as determined by fans. And as you all know, me and Drew have the utmost respect of the taste of your average fan. So, so this is going to be an interesting list to go over. You ready, Drew?
I'm ready. I'm
right,
ready.
Let's turn that page, baby. All right. Where's that list?
This was from 2014, so it's a little over 10 years old now.
All right. So, this is the 75 greatest Marvel comics of all time.
Yep.
Well, we're just going to name them. We're not going to go into super detail, but we'll make comments where it's necessary to make comments where we feel compelled to.
Yeah, and just to set a little bit of context, I don't really know how they, what kind of criteria they had set forth to determine this or how the voting worked, but there's this little note here that says that they put out some calls through their social media channels asking fans to select their 75 greatest comics. So I don't know if this was people actually wrote down 75 comics, or they just, maybe gave 10 and then assigned them points.
Yeah.
I don't know how the tallying worked, but this is just the final 75 that ended up making the cut. It's kind of bizarre because you have stuff that's like longer stories. Some are full runs of things. And there are some that are just like single issues. So I don't really know how all of this was determined, but whatever.
If it's determined by the average fan, I'm assuming it's based on how many boogers they eat.
Yeah, that's logical.
Yeah.
That is logical.
So, all right, we'll go down the list. So you got The Death of Spider-Man by Brian Michael Bendis. So far, nothing too bad.
It's Ultimate Spider-Man, that was a good comic.
Yeah, respectable. Next Wave, Agents of Hate. It's a good comic. I think it deserves to be on the list. Maybe a little higher, maybe a little lower.
Higher.
Yeah, depends on what else is on the list, but okay. At least it's included for now. New Mutants 98.
The first appearance of Deadpool, baby.
Oh, yeah, by the Rob Liefeld and Fabian Nicieza. And as you all know, we have the utmost respect for them because they are artistes. So that already in and of itself is an indicator of the kind of list that we're looking at, where this gets a higher placement than Next Wave, Agents of Hate, or The Death of Spider-Man. This is not going to bode well. Marvel 2-in-1 Annual number 7. I don't know anything about this. You?
I don't know if I actually ever read it, but I feel like I've seen pages from it on, back in the day there was a, live journal site. I think it was called like Daily Panels or something like that, where they would scan pages from a random comic to share. And this was the issue where the Thing put on some boxing gloves and had a boxing match with Champion.
Yep. You remember when that happened? The big blowout bash between Thing and Champion? The greatest battle of all time.
It was one of those stories that was supposed to highlight that quality of the Thing, where he's just a guy that never gives up, being overmatched, being on the ropes, but never giving up, too stubborn to quit.
I got more interest in watching Superman fight Muhammad Ali, honestly. Okay, Fantastic Four 262, another one. I got no context for this, but yeah, sure.
It's a John Byrne issue.
Yeah, so that says everything that you need to know. In all likelihood, there's probably some point in the story where he has an underage girl fall in love with a substantially older man. That on its own already disqualifies it from my list, but okay, sure. I'm going to move down the list. All right, number 70. Daredevil, The Man Without Fear, 1 to 5.
Comic.
It's a good comic. John Romita Jr., Frank Miller. Okay, respectable. Avengers number 4. I mean,
it's important.
It's important, exactly. I don't know
if I'd want to read it more than some of the other comics on this list.
Exactly. I get why it's on this list.
Historical value.
I don't know that it it's quite up there for me, but sure.
It's one of those comics where I read it once in a reprint just to say, okay, I've read Avengers #4. It's the return of Captain America.
Yeah.
And after that, I never really thought about it too much. It's
Yep.
an iconic cover, though.
Yeah, for sure. Amazing Spider-Man Annual 21. Same as the Captain America, but maybe even less so because it's just the marriage of Peter Parker and Mary Jane. And that's hard because Marvel Comics doesn't even care about the sanctity of that marriage enough to have it exist in the modern day. So how important can it really be, right?
I remember reading that issue in a trade paperback when I was a kid, though. I did enjoy that.
Okay. Thor 362. I don't know what this one is.
That was the one with Scourge.
Okay.
Scourge on the
Walter
on the
Simonson.
bridge. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that is classic.
That's a classic
That's
issue.
classic.
That's a great
Okay.
comic.
Clone Saga.
That ain't ahead of Walter Simonson.
Come on.
Scourge. Come on, dude.
Why is that?
What is this?
Yeah, that's trash, man. Come on. Even at the time, we all thought that the Clone Saga was garbage. Are you telling me that it's aged like fine wine? I think not.
It's weird that there are people there who are nostalgic for it and actually,
So dumb.
I'm sure the omnibus sells copies.
I bet it does. And I bet there are new generations of idiots who are all about it. There's someone out there telling a young person, this was a real comic back in the day. Now smell my farts. Welcome Back, Frank. It's a good comic.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
I don't know if I would actually include it on this list. It's something like most of these I'd have to actually think about. If I see something where I'm like, oh yeah, that's for sure going to be on the list. I don't know if this quite makes it to that, but if it makes it to the list, I'm like, okay, I get it.
Oh, I just realized we skipped this one, X Factor 87. It was 67.
Oh, right. 67, X Factor 87.
That's a well-known issue. It's the one where Quicksilver visits Doc Samson, and it's like an issue. Well, every member of X Factor, I think, has a visit with Doc Samson, and you get some insight into them.
That's a creative concept.
Yeah.
Like, it's a therapy session with each member.
Yeah, but it's the one that gives you, like, I think people remember it because it's the one that gave us insight into why Quicksilver's a jerk, why he's so impatient.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's probably why people remember it.
Okay. I mean, on the face of it, I have no reason to hate that.
Yeah.
It's certainly more appealing to me than the Clone Saga.
Yeah, I still have a copy of that. I mean, it's a good comic. I don't know if it's like a top 75 comic, but
Yeah.
it's a good comic.
Marvel Comics #1, another example of like
Historical.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, New Mutants by Chris Claremont.
63. Well, we all know. Need we say more? But I don't know. Drew has more of a fondness for the New Mutants than I do. So
Not this era of New Mutants though. Like if it was the Bill Sienkiewicz stuff,
Yeah.
I'd be down for it because of the art. But
Yeah.
this one specifically highlights Marvel graphic novel #4, New Mutants, numbers. What is that? 1 to. Not all of it. I can't even. Oh, yeah. See, like that's okay. So that does include the Bill Sienkiewicz stuff, right? Because over here, I don't know if you can see in the video, but it says New Mutants numbers 1 to 54.
yeah,
So
that's
like,
huge.
yeah, like why is it the entire run here, and like
Yeah.
some of these other ones are like single issues?
Yeah.
It's hard to.
It's not
compare-
consistent.
Yeah,
Not consistent at all. Silver Surfer Parable at 61.
Mobius
I'll give it love.
and Stanley. Yeah,
I'll give it love.
I like that one.
Yeah.
That's a good comic.
Marvel Zombies at 60. It's a good comic, but I don't think that cracks top 75.
Yeah,
It's-
that's a tough one to justify.
It's a novelty. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad comic, but it's just not great or anything. Armor Wars, I believe that's David Michelinie.
Your boy David Michelinie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Albert, who you like more, David Michelinie or Christopher Claremont?
Oh, man. I probably have more crap to talk about Chris Claremont than I do David Michelinie. Like, David Michelinie isn't one of the recurring rogues villains in our podcast. Like, we tend to talk crap about Claremont and McFarlane. We and Scott Lobdell. They're our Magneto and Joker, but we tend to let David Michelinie and Tom DeFalco slide. Okay, Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. you know, it's a good comic.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
That's a good story. It's one of my favorite Kang stories.
Yeah. Amazing at 57. Amazing Spider-Man 129. First appearance of the Punisher. I never actually read that. You read it?
I probably read it in some reprint some years ago, but it's not a comic that stands out in my memory.
Yeah.
Other than the cover.
Yeah. That's probably the most iconic thing about it. Like, I can't really justify that. And I can't really justify this one either. Alpha Flight number 12. Like, another John Byrne joint.
Why number 12 specifically?
I don't know, man. John Byrne.
Oh, that's the one where Guardian died. Okay. The
And we all,
character Guardian.
And we all missed Guardian. Things ain't never been the same since.
Just imagine what the Marvel Universe could have been if Guardian had lived.
Yeah. It's a totally different world, man. World
See,
War.
I would have picked the issue where Snowbird fights a polar bear in a blizzard.
Over that.
Yeah.
We got World War Hulk. I feel like we've talked at 55. We talked about this quite a bit. It's never really in a good light, but we don't rag on it as much as we could rag on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't crack 75 for me.
Definitely not.
Wolverine by Chris Claremont and Frank Miller. That's another like sort of iconic, important comic. The Frank Miller art's a big deal. I mean, it's still Claremont though, so I don't know.
His words obfuscate the artwork, so
that sounds about right.
That's tough to swallow.
Yeah,
it's the story where Wolverine becomes a weeb.
Yeah, and he's been that ever since.
Yeah, he a ninja.
Yeah,
he a ninja.
At 53, we got Avengers Disassembled. That's a good comic. It's historically important. I mean, I can give or take it on my list of top 75.
Like, I mean, I enjoyed it. I reread the entirety of the Bendis Avengers stuff a few years ago, and it's definitely fun superhero stuff. I don't know if I would single out Avengers Disassembled as a top 75. Maybe I'd really have to sit down and come up with 75 comics.
If I was running out of stuff, then maybe by default that would like slide in there somewhere. But I can't say with any certainty that I don't have the conviction in my heart to say that absolutely deserves to be on my top 75 list.
But then why would they just say it's Avengers Disassembled and not the entirety of Bendis's Avengers run when you have like all of Chris Claremont's mutants there? Like, I don't get that.
They're kooky. They like the fans are dumb. Thor: God of Thunder by Jason Aaron and Isad Ribic. It's a run that's got a lot of love. I haven't actually read it because I've been collecting the issues in the quarter bin, and I finally got it all, but I haven't read it. But I do believe it's an important run.
Yeah.
You've actually read it.
I have read it. I have a lot of love for it. It would be higher on my list.
Nice.
But I would, again, it's another thing where I would, why not put all of Jason Aaron's run? I guess when this came out, maybe his run wasn't finished yet, but okay, whatever. But the first 11 issues are awesome.
You're being gracious.
Way too gracious. I need to crap on them some more. Oh, look what we have next. Deadpool kills. I ain't reading that.
Exactly.
I'm not reading that.
It's Deadpool, it's Cullen Bunn, and like Deadpool can be forgiven because Drew can find a little bit of love for Deadpool, even though, the worst kind of people like Deadpool, but Cullen Bunn, no, there's no forgiving that. No forgiving that whatsoever. Let's go to the next page. Am I missing any here? That's everything, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. At 50, right here, Avengers, 1963, number 57.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, the first appearance of the Vision?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, that's what the description says.
I never read it. I mean, again, important, but I don't know that it breaks my top.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you wouldn't like it because Roy Thomas wrote it.
Okay. House Roy. At 49, we got Hawkeye by Matt Fraction and David Aja. That definitely made it higher up. That made it on the only list that counts, which is the Between the Gutters top 25 Marvels list of all time.
That's right.
So we already know that this list ain't worth its salt.
Nope.
They listed it at 49.
It should be higher.
Disrespectful. Giant Size X-Men number 1.
Historical value.
Yeah.
It's important. It changed things for the X-Men.
I'd rather read Hawkeye by Matt Fraction and David Aja.
Definitely.
Okay. 47, Avengers Korvac Saga. This was something I never read, but it got so much love. Like, so many people of a certain era seem to like it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that I personally agree. Maybe I have to actually read it and then we'll see. But
I have a feeling you wouldn't like it.
I have a feeling I wouldn't really like it either.
I've never read it either.
Is this 46? I can't tell. Okay, 46. Amazing Spider-Man 700. I believe this is from the Dan Slott era.
Yeah, that's the start of the Superior era, isn't it?
I think so.
Yep, that's what the description
People
says.
love their Superior Spider-Man, and if you've listened to our podcast, I don't think we rag on it nearly as much as like some other stuff, but I think you can tell we ain't Superior Spider-Man people.
Give me the inferior Spider-Man any day.
Yeah, or just regular Spider-Man. Astonishing X-Men by Joss Whedon and John Cassidy. I got love for it.
Yeah, me too. That's a good X-Men run.
Yeah, it's fine to have it on the list.
John Cassidy was a great guy. Too bad he passed away a few months back.
Amazing Spider-Man number 36, 1999 by JMS and JRJR. I remember this one because it was the 9/11 issue. I think it's a little unfair to put this on the list because a lot of it I think is attributed to like the 9/11 stuff, the tragedy of it all.
It's a sentimental comic.
Yeah. I can't.
It's kind of cringy by today's standards, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, I remember rereading it a few years ago. You had a bunch of that run, the JMS run. I remember before you sold it, I think you had like all of it, right? Or like up to a certain point.
I had it up to Sins Past, and then that's where
that was the breaking point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember you had that issue, so I read your copy, just that specific issue, because I remember reading it when it came out, and it was, I was younger. I was caught up in the emotion of the time
tragedy.
Period. Yeah, and then I think reading it years after the fact, I was like,
this is hokey.
This is kind of it's cringy. It's kind of embarrassing.
I'll admit, I read it. I remember I bought that comic, and then I was reading it on the bus ride home from Comics Outpost. So I was taking the bus home. I felt stuff.
Yeah,
I felt sad. So
yeah.
Anyways,
I don't disdain the attempt, but it's just, I think with time passing, like now it's kind of tough to read, but I believe that JMS and John Romita Jr. had good intentions with it.
Yeah. Fair. Ultimates 1, another one that made it much higher. 43. Amazing Spider-Man number 50. That's a pretty famous cover.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever actually read that comic, but
I'm pretty sure I read it in a reprint at some point.
But
again, it was just one of those where I read it so I could say, oh, I read that comic a long time ago.
Yeah.
Could I tell you anything about it today? Nope.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Ultimates number 1. Again, this was much higher on our list, so...
But why just issue 1, though?
Yeah.
Why not the whole run?
Yeah.
For the whole story? I don't get that.
Well, while we're on that, they got Planet Hulk. Why isn't that with World War Hulk? Right?
Because they're two distinct storylines, Albert.
Okay. Sure.
But why is that higher than the Ultimates? I would rather read one issue of the Ultimates than read all of Planet Hulk.
Yeah. I still remember the one time we were at some comic shop and a guy was telling his friend about it, and he was like, Planet Hulk is my favorite graphic novel. He didn't want to call it a comic because comics make it sound amateur and juvenile. It's a graphic novel.
Yeah. It's up there with From Hell
and
Mouse.
Yeah. It's the tragedy of what happens when Hulk becomes a planet. All right. We are at issue 40.
Number 40.
Fantastic Four 285. It's a Secret Wars tie-in, it says here.
Secret Wars 2, so that's even worse.
Oh, man. Why?
Yeah, why
do fans choose this,
man?
That
cover isn't even iconic, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's another John Byrne issue.
Nothing. John Byrne gets so much love. Why? Next up, Captain America 25. This was the Nomad issue, right?
No, that was the death of Captain America.
Oh, that was the death of Captain America. Yeah. Okay. Well,
that was a big issue.
Yeah, this is a big deal. I think it deserves to be on the list somewhere.
We had Brubaker's run on our list.
Yeah, they were right. So,
but again, why is it just? I mean, I know why, but come on.
Because people are weird, man.
It's a key issue, Albert. That's why.
Yeah. 38, Kree-Skrull War, another one where I'm confident. This time I will say I'm confident I wouldn't enjoy it, but it seems to be a big hit for like fans of a certain age.
Yeah, I did read that one. Maybe not recently, but I definitely read it in the past, I want to say 15 years.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything that I really loved. I mean, I guess I could see why it's remembered, especially if you grew up in that era. But as someone who's younger than when it came out, it's not something that I would, uphold or anything. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident that you wouldn't like it because
Yeah.
it's more House Roy.
Yeah, of course. 37, we got Thunderbolts #1. Good comic, fun. I don't think it's like...
It's not the best Thunderbolts.
It's not the best Thunderbolts. It's not, a necessity. So...
Definitely memorable in its era. The shock ending of the first issue stands out.
There's historical value to it. I'll give it that.
Definitely.
But I can't say that makes my list unless, again, I really got to think about it. 37, 36. Another one that was much higher on our list, Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. by Steranko. I mean, these people got no respect.
Yeah.
No respect.
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man 1963, number 31 to 33 at 35. That's a pretty classic Spider-Man story.
That's a good comic.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it would be my favorite stuff or anything, but I mean, we did include the Amazing Spider-Man in our top 25 as well.
Yeah.
So I think the final chapter, that's probably like peak Spider-Man.
Yeah.
In terms of like conceptually what makes Spider-Man appealing.
Yeah.
Just him lifting the giant machinery off his shoulders. That's iconic stuff.
Yep.
And it's Ditko.
Yeah, there we go. Ultron Unlimited. That was a good story arc.
Yeah.
Actually, I could see that making someone 75. I got nothing against it.
Yeah. But why not Kurt Busiek's entire run as one item?
Because people just really wanted to, like, glaze up Ultron Unlimited.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know if I have Ultron Unlimited, like, that much higher than Kang Dynasty.
Yeah. And there's, like, a pretty substantial gap between this and Kang Dynasty. Oh, well. People. X-Men Fatal Attractions. Oh, no, so Avengers versus X-Men. Oh, I have this. It's fine. It doesn't crack my top 75.
Yeah, it's just another fun superhero slobber knocker crossover event.
Yeah. X-Men Fatal Attractions at 32. I can't.
I'd rather read Avengers versus X-Men.
Yeah, this is this is the kind of choice or pick that just reminds you of the kind of people that are, like, making this list.
Would you rather read Fatal Attractions or the Kree-Skrull War or Fantastic Four number 285?
I'd rather read 285 just because it's a single issue. 31, Thor 337, Walter Simonson with the Better Rabiel cover. That's pretty iconic.
Yep. I believe that's Simonson's first issue too.
Yeah,
so that's a classic. But again, why not his entire run?
Yeah, just fools and suckers. So 31. Let's go to 30. Incredible Hulk 181. First appearance of Wolverine. Key issue.
It's a key issue.
Yeah. Okay. Doesn't make it on my list. Extremis at 29. This was far higher up on our list. So, unfortunately, due to Warren Ellis's proclivities, it hurts it a little. But, quality-wise, it's still far better than a lot of comics on this list. 28, Spider-Man Blue. Spider-Man Blue. By Jeff Loeb. Loeb the Strobe. I don't know what that means, man.
I mean, I like the art.
Yeah.
The story doesn't hold up.
It doesn't.
It's not a good. I can't say it's a good comic, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I like it for the art. I think I ended up selling my copy just because I didn't feel like I would reread it ever.
Yeah. But it's still better than the next thing coming up. Number 27, Maximum Carnage. I would read Maximum Carnage if it was a promotional comic for, like, Mountain Dew.
Maybe one day, maybe next year we'll cover Maximum Carnage one issue a month for our read-through.
Oh my gosh, I hope not. I really hope not. All right. Number 26, House of M, 1 to 8.
And it's another enjoyable Bendis event comic.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'd be in my top 75 or anything.
Exactly.
This feels pretty high.
Yeah. I guess if it made it to somebody else's list or this list, like I don't have anything. It's not the thing that I'm gonna necessarily poo-poo on.
Yeah.
Death of Captain Marvel, historical moment.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good comic, man.
Yeah.
It's Jim Starlin. I got the gallery edition of it a little while ago. It's been a while since I've read it, but I do think it's a good comic. I don't know if it would be this high on my... Well, it definitely wouldn't be this high on my list, but...
It's 25, man.
Yeah,
like, our list starts at 25, and it wasn't on that list, so...
Yeah.
All right. Warlock by Jim Starlin. I've never read this stuff, but I know you got like love for Starlin and Warlock. So.
Yeah. I got the gallery edition of this one. I haven't actually read it yet, but I flipped through it. I flipped through it quite a bit. I usually, to be honest, this might sound weird considering I bought the gallery edition of Death of Captain Marvel as well as this one, but I don't consider myself a fan of his artwork. But for some reason, Warlock specifically, I think that looks really good.
Nice.
Like the way that he drew a lot of the cosmic stuff, it's far out there, man. It's kind of trippy.
Yeah.
Some of the stars, the explosions, the Kirby crackles and whatnot. It's just wondrous to look at, and he does some pretty clever layouts. It's just that a lot of his comics in the years since, after this one, they haven't really impressed me as much, and I kind of grew up reading a bunch of Jim Starlin comics. Granted, maybe they were the ones that he wrote. But I did read the entirety of his Dreadstar as well, and that one didn't blow me away visually the way that his Warlock did.
I see. Okay. Well, moving on. At 23, Fantastic Four Galactus Trilogy. You know, could have been the entire Kirby run, but whatever. Well, this was much higher on our list.
Yeah,
so,
but we had the entire run.
Yeah, and we have, good taste. Because Age of Apocalypse is at 22 and it beat this. What are fans thinking, man? What are fans thinking?
Why is this even on the list, man?
Yeah. Even at the time, people thought this was garbage.
Why do people like that more than the Galactus trilogy? Why do they like that
lame.
more than anything on this?
Well, why is God Loves, Man Kills number 21? Why is that on this list? Why is that these two are an affront?
I feel like one of these days we got to do an episode or at least a video or something on God Loves, Man Kills, because you got powerful thoughts on that one.
I do.
It's one of those universally beloved stories.
It's a comic that's anti-racism, but it just made me become a racist.
I hate the human race.
Exactly.
I hate the human race because they like that comic.
All right, number 20, Secret Invasion, another Bendis comic. Same thing as the rest.
Yeah.
It's like...
Why not just toss that in with his Avengers run?
Yeah, it's not a bad comic, but...
It's not a top 20 comic.
It's not. 19, Daredevil 181.
Why not the full run?
Yeah, I'm inclined to say that all of Frank Miller's run on that is probably makes more sense, but whatever.
Yeah, we had Frank Miller's full run on our list.
Yeah.
And I feel like the reason this is on their list is because it's a key issue.
Yeah, it's Daredevil killing Elektra, and
Bullseye.
Bullseye killing Elektra, and apparently that's the only thing that mattered out of that entire run. Okay, sure. 18, Avengers Under Siege. I know you had love for this.
I still have love for this.
Yeah.
It is still one of my favorite Avengers stories.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have it. It probably wouldn't be on my top 18.
Yeah.
But I do have love for it.
Okay.
It's I know it's John Buscema drawing it. I want to say Roger Stern wrote it.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 17, the kid who collected Spider-Man.
Another Roger Stern comic, and I never read it, but it's in this omnibus that I got by accident because we made an order from In Stock Trade, and Drew wanted a Brubaker comic, one of his Image comics, and for whatever reason, they sent me an omnibus of this Roger Stern Spider-Man collection instead, and we were just like, I'm not gonna call him back to correct this.
You're just outing yourself on video now, Albert. Now they're gonna hunt you down.
It's too late. It's too late.
It's past the statute of limitations.
Exactly. The crime has already been committed.
I do have that issue in my collection.
Yeah.
It's not in the perfect condition, but I can read it. So, yeah, it's a good comic, man. It's a famous story.
Yeah. 16, Annihilation. Yeah, it's fine, I guess. Doesn't crack my list.
It's a good series. I did get the omnibus for cheap a little while ago, so I want to reread it for a reappraisal. I don't think it would be, top 16 or anything.
Yeah.
But I think it's good.
Yeah. Hulk number 1, 1962. It's historically important.
Yeah,
That's all I really got to say.
Yeah. I had a reprint of it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So that was something I read over and over as a youth.
And I like the Hulk, so there we go. At 14, Fantastic Four number 1. Again, you could have just put it all together in the Kirby ranking.
Yeah.
But whatever, people. 13, Captain America Comics number 1.
Another key issue.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people who voted for these actually read them.
Yeah. I also wonder how many people who voted for this are now on the side of the Nazis.
That's a very good question. That is a very good question.
Captain America's woke. He's punching a Nazi. What's wrong with a Nazi?
What did they ever do to you?
Exactly.
They helped restore the German economy, man.
Yeah. Why is he being woke? Avengers 12. At 12, Avengers number 1. Sure.
It's historical. I still have a copy of that in some trade paperback somewhere.
Yeah. Secret Wars. I can't say that.
That is not a good comic.
Yeah. It's 80s. It's quintessentially 80s.
It's bad 80s comics.
It's bad 80s.
There's a lot more. There are better comics from the 80s.
Yeah.
Even by Marvel.
Yeah, we included something like Squadron Supreme. So far, I don't see it. I don't have any faith that it's going to be on this list, but prove me wrong. All right. So that's 11. Here we are.
Top 10.
Amazing Fantasy 15. We had that much higher on our list under the entire Ditko umbrella. These people be fools.
Yeah.
Number 9, The Winter Soldier. That made it on our list. I don't think it was quite as high. It was like 25 with the Brubaker stuff, right?
Yeah, I forget which what our exact rankings were.
Yeah, but okay. Marvel's number 1. Marvel's deserves to be on the list.
Why just the first issue? What was wrong with 2, 3, and 4? I don't get that. That's an entire story right there.
Yeah. That's 7, Infinity Gauntlet. I have love for it, but, I made that last list, and it didn't crack that list, so...
Yeah.
It might make my top 75 just because I just have affection for it, but it wouldn't be that high. At number 6, they've got Days of the Future Past. We all know what we think.
I love how you always call it Days of the Future Past, when it clearly says Days of Future Past.
I'm just saying it because it's just easier for me to not have to think about it. I'm trying to not think about it as much as possible, as little as possible. But yeah, Claremont, he's straight weak sauce, so no love here. And then just to put their other thumb in my other eye, the Dark Phoenix Saga. Dark Phoenix Saga. I'm not going to put the in this one.
Okay.
So Days of the Future Past and Dark Phoenix Saga. So those are both chump comics there.
Man,
Sorry.
I feel like we got to talk about Claremont Comics on the podcast one day just so you can unleash your unbridled fury against Claremont.
At number 4, Born Again. That was on our list. We got love for that.
Yeah,
okay, I'll give it that.
That is one of the greatest Marvel comics of all time.
Yeah. At number 3, Kraven's Last Hunt. We had love for that. That made it to our list. Okay, respect. Not quite as high, but respect nonetheless. Number 2, Civil War. I like Civil War.
Yeah.
But
it's not top 2.
Yeah, I can't justify it.
It's not top 10. It's not top 25.
Yeah, I can't justify that it's ranking.
Yeah.
I just can't. Nope.
I wonder if this was around the time when Captain America Civil War came out.
Yeah, maybe
that's
it was
why.
just really in the
Yeah.
zeitgeist of the fandom.
Could be, yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
And then finally at number 1, the death of Gwen Stacy.
Famous story. I did read that one. I
Yeah.
don't own a copy of it myself.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's an important from a historical perspective.
Yeah.
It's not something that I would have thought of as like one of the greatest Marvel comics of all time when you
Yeah.
got Born Again staring at you in the face.
Exactly. And the other weird thing is, like, okay, if we were to rank it, like, keep it in consideration for historical value, there's a ton of other stuff that's, like, way more historical than that, you know?
Yeah. I wonder
yeah.
why fans chose that one as the greatest Marvel comic.
I think it's the thing that they consider, like, one of the greatest comic tragedies is the death of Gwen Stacy. I think the fandom just generally feels that way about it, because how many...
I want to know how much of the modern fandom has actually read that comic.
That's true. I mean,
Read those
when
issues.
was this list made? What year?
2014.
Yeah, that's 10 years ago. I'm curious to laugh at what the modern list looks like. All right. Well, that's the list.
Yep. If you guys have any comments or if you think that we should expound on anything on the list even more, if you want to hear Albert's full rant against God Loves Man Kills, Days of the Future Past, or Dark Phoenix Saga, hit us up.
Yep.
Share, like, and subscribe. Do all
Yeah.
the podcast video things.
Yep. And yeah, if this does well, maybe we'll keep making more videos.